Good morning. It is 9:57 a.m. on Saturday, February 20th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. I'm pleased with myself because I have a good dog. Also, that something I mentioned on a video that he does sometimes, I was able to get a picture of it despite me thinking in my original speaking on the subject that I would never be able to get a picture of it just because the act of trying to get my phone out and getting the picture would disturb him. But it didn't, so if you check my Twitter right now, you will see a photo of me in bed with Rocket leaning his head over my, like around my neck from the back and, resting his face on my face. And it's pretty sweet. Anyway, yesterday I watched some things and played some things. Um, the I watched the expanded edition of The Hateful Eight, which is Quentin Tarantino's movie, and this was a movie like I'm a fan of Quentin Tarantino's movies generally. Like I like them quite a bit. I'm a fan. The Hateful Eight was not my favorite when I saw it in theaters. I think the part of the issue was, and this was despite the fact that I am, generally speaking, I think I'm kind of a sucker for those kinds of movies where you've got a bunch of people that are all sort of trapped together in some isolated location and they all have got their secrets, but what's going on with everybody and that sort of thing. Like, so for example, a really good example of a movie like that recently was Bad Times at the El Royale, which is great. But Hateful Eight, like, despite my sort of being very open to the subject matter and the person making it and several of the actors, ultimately kind of just felt a little off to me on first viewing. I think part of it is the decision. I mean, because it's clearly a deliberate decision to have all of these characters be kind of awful in one way or another. Um, and yeah, so like I think that's not my favorite. Um, yeah, I think that's ultimately kind of what it comes down to is that generally speaking with movies, I feel like I I want to have someone to really root for. And you kind of sort of root for a couple of characters in Hateful Eight, but you know, they do some awful things too, and it's complicated. It's like it's okay. I don't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite. But what I will say is that the expanded version, which makes the movie somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 hours and splits it up like it's 4 1 hour episodes of a TV show rather than one long movie, I think actually improves it. You could almost argue that the pace was slow as a movie as it was, but by expanding it even further, the way the expanded version does, it kind of unlocks the pacing, I think, a little bit for me in the sense of it has it instead of feeling a little bit like gosh, it's hard to I'm trying to think of a metaphor for it, but I think what I'll just say instead is that um, it felt like it wasn't quite the perfect fit in the movie form, but then in the this expanded form, it just really seems like it's got all the room to breathe and totally be itself that it needs, and the tone and pacing of it. Maybe partly all of it also is that is rewatching it. But like I rewatched the movie version too, and yeah. So in any event, I feel like if you hated Hateful Eight before, don't bother, right? But if you felt like you liked parts of it, but you were a little frustrated with the movie version, the expanded version might improve some of that for you. I still wouldn't say it's my favorite Tarantino by any stretch, but an improvement, I think. Um, I also had just a fun D&D session last night. It's one of the games that I play in as a player rather than DMing, and in that one we have like a Spelljammer ship, and we're like racing across all the different planes, and it's pretty good. My character ended up in a Freaky Friday situation with one of the other characters. We did a Spelljammer jump between planes, and it switched our bodies, and so we were swapping character sheets for a little while. So that's kind of feels like an RPG rite of passage. So that was kind of fun, and then we're it's doing some cool stuff, and one of the areas that we're going to go into next time is digging a little deeper into an area we did before, where the DM has it inspired by the Doom video games, and it's just cool. I'm having a good time with it. So I'm going to leave it there for today, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.